Welcome to the Innovation World podcast. Innovation World is your go-to source for all things innovation, invention, and entrepreneurship. Our website is www.innovationworld.org.
What's everyone? It's Carmine Danisco live on Innovation World. We are here with another great show. We're going to catch up with Julie, our co-host. I'm sure she's got a lot of cool stuff happening. Julie, what's going on?
Hey, Carmine. Nice to be here today. Sunny Ohio for a change. Thanks for putting the show together today. And we have a lot going on as usual. So we're coming up on our third Global Innovation Field Trip. It takes place this weekend, October 10th and 11th. Starts at noon on Saturday, Eastern Standard Time, and runs all the way through Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And it's fabulous. We'll have somewhere around 80 guests over the course of the 24-hour period. And those guests are innovators, young innovators of any kind. So it could be robotics, it can be coding, it can be app makers, which is kind of the same, similar to coding, or at least the same skill set. It can be inventors, it can be students who have developed a new program out there that haven't got a product, but they have a program or an initiative they're working on. And it's all of those programs that help support innovators and inspire them as well. And in fact, one of those types of programs will be joining us on today's podcast. So with that, I want to just a couple of general announcements for you. So we went over the Global Innovation Field Trip. Oh, one of the really cool things that's going to happen at the end of the Global Innovation Field Trip. So on Sunday, gotta tune in. You go to our YouTube channel to watch it live. Our YouTube channel will be under Global Innovation Field Trip, and we are giving away the Miro robot, which is really cool. It's about a $3,500 robot. Comes with 500 hours of programming time on the simulator, and we're super excited. We have kids from all over the world that participated in the Miro Teach Miro K-12 challenge, and it's going to be very exciting. So tune in on Sunday morning for that. Also, anytime you have program out there or a student innovator out there that has something really special to share, we invite you to check out our podcast and maybe write us a note and ask if you could be our next podcast guest. So you can write to Innovation World or info@innovationworld.org and tell us about yourself, and we'd love to have you on a future podcast.
Very cool. So
with that, I would like to introduce today's guest. Now, I've known Toby Foote for probably, 10 or 15 years, because he used to do a little expo I ran years ago out of our school district, and just kept track of him over the years. And he has a really cool program called Classroom Antics, and they have a wide variety of pretty cool offerings for students. And I think students as young as 6 and then probably all the way up through high school, but I'll let Toby get into that just a little bit. And Toby, say hello, and also give a better spiel for Classroom Antics that I just did for you.
Sure. No, that's great. Thank you for that introduction, Julie. That's fantastic. Yeah. So Julie and my background is from invention conventions. So when we would do those events together, and I was, our company was a sponsor, a vendor for their programs. But in short, Classroom Antics is an educational enrichment provider, focusing in the STEAM and STEM space for kids that are in elementary and middle schools. So you'll find a lot of our programs are focused around technology, education, science, and art as well too, because there's a lot of things that are artistic that are in the digital space as well too. We have 10 different unique in-person summer camps that we offer, anywhere from YouTube video production classes to Minecraft coding classes, making video games. We have a robotics program as well too. We have multiple coding programs. We have a stop motion animation program as well too, which is, if anybody's familiar with claymation, we use Lego bricks instead of clay, but we make stop motion movies and videos as well too in that class. There's a whole wide variety of them. And then we also run those camps, 4 of those 10 camps we get to run virtually as well too. So during COVID, we've been able to offer those throughout the summertime, 4 of those 10 programs. And then we're also offering them as evening camps during the school year for the fall only right now. So they run at 6 o'clock at night for Monday through Friday for 2 hours a night. So it's a 10-hour program. You kind of do it all in 1 week. And we have one program, actually we have a game builders program running this week right now. And then we have a Minecraft coding class that's coming up, as well as a stop motion animation program as well that's coming up in the next 2 weeks. So we also lastly have a JavaScript coding class, which we have 2 members of our coding club on here today. We have Ethan and Rithvik on as well too. They are in the coding club, and hopefully we're going to get to hear them today as well too, talk about what their experiences are like and what they've been creating in coding club.
So before we start with Ethan and with Rithvik, I just have a quick question for you, or 2 actually. You said you have 4 online classes available, evening classes available, and I think you talked about the Minecraft, the stop
motion animation.
Which is really cool.
We call it Brick Flicks.
And then what were the other 2?
Yeah, so the other one is a game design class, and another one is a game builders class.
Okay.
We use 2 different technologies, and they're actually focused on 2 different age groups. So our game builders class, which when it's virtual, it's called virtual game builders, is focused on kids that are 7 to 9 years old. And then we have a game design class, which is a different technology that we use, and that's focused on kids that are ages 10 to 13 years old.
So how do I know? I have a 6-year-old here. How do I know if that 6-year-old is going to be suitable when he turns 7 here in another month for a game building? I mean, he loves to play Roblox. He loves to play Minecraft and just about everything else in front of him. Does that necessarily mean he's going to want to build or be good at building?
Yeah. So, here, part of the mantra at Classroom Antics is learn what you love. So, and all of these enrichment programs that exist in the world today are opportunities to find out what we do love and to learn more about that. So if your child is interested in playing video games, there's a good chance they might be interested in making video games. So that's what game builders and game design is about. If your child really loves playing with Legos, maybe they would love to build robots with Legos and figuring out how to make them move rather than just being inanimate and just sitting on our desk. If somebody's interested in watching YouTube videos, well, boy, there might be an opportunity there to learn about video production and understand how do I do video capture, how do I do video editing, and how do I splice that all together, just like Carmine's going to do probably at the end of all this and making our video here today look super awesome.
Yeah, very much so. So another question I have for you is, why are these skills important?
So we're in the 21st century world today. I mean, it is the 21st century, and those skill sets that come with us, we're in a digital age. We have long passed the entry into digital age many, many years and decades ago. So a lot of the things that we have traditionally done in person are now being done in the digital space. So for example, like if you think about, we still have board games and tactile things like that, and those are fun, and I love board games as well too, but there's such an interest now in playing those games online in video games. Now, what's great about video games and with coding as well too, is they're giving us programming background, understanding about conditional logic, structured sequencing, if this, then do this. What is a variable, which is pulled in from math as well too, because so we're learning math skills, we're reinforcing those things. We're building programs that automate processes for what we do. And what we're doing even though we're having fun making video games and we're having fun programming robots to move and act the way we want, we're learning programming skills that we're going to use in the workforce field later on in life as we are trying to automate processes.
As you're going through your description, I'm also thinking from my background way back that it's got to help create organizational skills just by learning to code from the little I know about it, and processes, which is not something that, kids talk about how to fix or develop or improve a process. But I would think by what you're teaching them, process skills are just innate in that type of activity or in that type of work that they're doing. So very valuable, will be even more so valuable in their careers later. So it's kind of a good, fun way to start building your skill sets now for what you're going to have to do later.
Yeah, and doing it in a fun way, a playful way, where, I mean, that's what everybody wants to do is have fun while they're working. And this is a great way to reinforce that.
Yes, yes. Well, listen, I know that you have two fantastic guests to introduce and that want to share with us. And I think that at least one of them is actually at school. So we probably need to be sensitive about the time that he's pulled out of class. So Toby, if you'd like to introduce him and have him speak so they end up on camera too, that would be great.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. So I have two wonderful kids today. I have Ethan and Rithvik. Ethan is the one that is in school right now, so let's go to him first. Ethan, how you doing with that internet bandwidth? Is that working? Let's see. Maybe not yet.
Well, you know what, Ethan, why don't you try turning your video off for a minute and let's see if we can hear you better. Okay, now let's see if we can hear you, Ethan. This might not happen from that classroom.
Well, while Ethan's trying to figure out the internet and seeing if Ethan, go ahead and chime in at any point that you think that the internet might be working, and we'll bring you back in. Rithvik, do you want to go ahead and see if you can turn on your microphone and see if you're able to talk okay?
Hello.
Hey, Rithvik.
Hello.
So Rithvik, Rithvik, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me what grade you're in, and maybe some of the things, classes that you've taken, besides taking the Classroom Antics Coding Club. And then tell us a little bit afterwards about what you're doing in Coding Club and some of the things that you're creating.
Okay, my name is Rithvik. I'm in 5th grade and I go to Hillside Elementary. I'm in 3rd grade. I took a coding class in 3rd grade, which is like a school coding class we had with my teacher. And in 4th grade, I did White Hat Junior. Yeah, we also played with Ozobots. They're like robots which we can code with lines on a piece of paper. In the Classroom Antics class, I've been learning how to code with JavaScript and using some function blocks and like making new creations like memes or like a heart beating somehow. Would you like more? Or?
Yeah, that's great, Rithvik. You are wonderful. I swear, you look better than all three of us, and you're so well spoken.
I'm just thinking about all these people that when I used to be work at a software company that would talk about, you know, how Java was the new thing to learn. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, and this 5th grader knows it. And I have no clue other than that it's a programming language. So what has been your favorite thing through anything that you've done, your favorite thing to program, Rithvik?
I would say like I like making memes because I'm a meme kind of guy. So I like making memes with codes, and I like using repeat blocks because they can just like so I can use a slideshow to show all my memes like in like one slideshow.
Yeah. And what are you working towards to build? Is there something that you have that you'd really, really like to make and you're working towards that now?
I really want to make like a app, but I'm trying to work towards that. That's why I'm learning coding so I can make an app in the future.
That's great. And do you have an idea of what kind of app you want to make without giving away too much of it?
Let's just say it helps you learn.
It would help me learn?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
You have to go really slow and repeat itself frequently when it has anything to do with coding. So how old were you when you first took a coding class of any kind?
7.
And how old are you in 5th grade? Are you 11?
No, I'm 10.
10. Okay. So you've been coding for almost half your life, pretty close to, or will be for long. Do you find coding is hard?
But when I first started, it was kind of hard, but now it's easier, I would say.
Now that you know the language a bit?
Yeah, because now I know like how to like use the blocks and use like how to type it out and like make it a working code.
So here, I'm going to chime in for a second, Julie, because I want to ask him something specific that's about the JavaScript class that he's doing right now. So Rithvik, is this the first time in the JavaScript coding club, the virtual coding club, where you have actually seen code that looks like text on the screen, like a paragraph? Or have you been working with that before in other languages?
In 4th grade, I did White Hat Junior, which was like half blocks, half text.
Okay.
But this is like the first time I've done fully text.
Okay. All right. So tell me about that a little bit. How was the transition into using that? What was it like on your first time using the vid code, so that you could, which is the program that we're using, to be able to write that code? And tell me, what was it like being in an environment with a bunch of kids as well too that were doing that with you?
I would say like it was actually not too hard, but it was actually kind of hard because typing the code took longer, and sometimes I get frustrated because it just doesn't work sometimes. But most of the time, if I just figure it out, it works. But yeah, working with other kids, I just feel like it could help me also. Because let's just say they need help with something, I can help them with that, and it can help me, help others, and help them.
Excellent. Okay. And about how many kids are in your group that you're working in?
I would say about 10 or so.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Toby. Knowing that I know nothing about languages other than I can identify that Java is one, and there's a couple other I'm familiar with their names only. If Rithvik is learning Java through the programs, and later he goes to work and is introduced to a different language, does it help to know one language to start to learn and understand another, or are they all so far apart that you have to totally relearn everything?
Julie, that's a great question. So programming languages are like human languages. And let me kind of explain that a little bit. Human languages are built up of, we have letters. Those letters make up words. Those words make up sentences, and those sentences make up paragraphs, and multiple paragraphs make up deep thought. Okay. The idea that you have a subject and a noun, it's like a subject and a verb and a direct object, and you have these types of rules about languages, they're not vastly different from one human language to another. You're always trying to convey a message. Okay. Now, if we liken that to programming language, we're doing the exact same thing. We have variables, and those variables contain some sort of value inside of them. We also might have a structured language as well too, like an if-then statement that Rithvik might be writing to do this or that, depending on what happens. Those things exist in every programming language. And so what we have to do is, if let's just say that we learn C#, okay, and now we want to learn JavaScript, or we want to learn any one of the other many different programming languages out there. You know, in our age, Julie, we were doing Fortran and Pascal and COBOL. So, but whatever the language may be, you're doing the same thing. Now, maybe one has a semicolon at the end. Maybe another one has tick marks around a variable name, or parentheses or squiggles or whatever they may be. Or the way you write it may be a little different. The setup is exactly the same. Once you understand programming, going to your second programming language is a lot easier, just like learning another language. Once you know, let's say we're English and we know Spanish. Now, once we want to learn some other type of foreign language, we can understand the same thing. That we have words, and they're going to make up sentences, and it's just it helps you tremendously to know that first language, whether it's a human language or a programming language.
Good. That's very good. Ethan, can you hear us now? For a minute there, we thought we had Ethan back.
Real quick, Toby, while we're trying to get Ethan back, for a lot of people that don't realize how important programming is, how does programming work in the real world when people go out into the world in different industries?
Mm-hmm. So programming exists in practically every industry today. You know, it used to be, you know, very centralized in certain companies. You'd find it at IBM, or you'd find it at, you know, Microsoft, or any one of those. Now it's just everywhere. I mean, every bank has their own programming and development team. You can go to any industry and find programmers. They're writing special code that's specific just for their company and just for their industry.
Yeah. It seems like the need for programmers has grown exponentially.
Yeah, because you know what we're doing is changing all the time as well too. Think about just COVID here. You know, how did things change in COVID? Everybody all of a sudden started working remotely, right? Well, that changed the dynamics of so many other pieces of people's organizations as well too. Something that normally would have to be done in person, now we got to figure out a virtual component for it, right? Maybe you had time clock. Like, let's just suppose that you're an HR rep and you normally on the shelf, you know, people come in, they work, and they put, I mean, this is probably a little dated now, but if you put a piece of paper into the time punch clock and it records the time that you came in or left. Okay, imagine something like that existed. Now I have to figure out how to do that virtually. How people are going to clock in, we're using different tools like Zoom, for example, to now have our meetings instead of having them in person. And there's other people that are, a lot of these companies are developing new things where like Google or Microsoft aren't filling the void for their industry. So there's massive amount of programming and development that's happening every year. It's like Moore's law. It's just going faster and faster. We're having more and more programmers, more code being developed, and as a result, programs get deprecated as well too. As we don't need it anymore. It's now not being used. Get it off the shelf. We got version 2.0 that we got of this software that we're using. So.
That's amazing. Is there a prevalent type of coding, or it's really just depends on the person learning which one they go towards?
I'm sorry, could you ask that question one more time?
Yeah, is there a coding version or language out there that is more prevalent, or is it just kind of, you know, whichever one people, you know, move towards?
Well, people will be programming in the language in which their company has standardized on. So, for example, if you're a mainframe developer, you know, that would be big in the banking institution. They still have mainframes. They're still developing those. Those are not going to die anytime soon, centralized servers. So they're going to be programming in COBOL. Okay, it's just that is the programming language on mainframe. If you're going to be programming on a distributed platform like Unix or Windows or you can be running in whatever language maybe previous languages were built for. Maybe you had because you weren't, you know, you're not going to be probably, if you go to an organization, you're not going to probably be the first person that has to program anything.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be other people that were before you that programmed, and they standardized. We use Perl. We use whatever you wanted, you know, whatever programming language they decided to use, and they're going to ask you to continue to use that. Maybe you could be lucky. You're really good at, you know, you have your favorite programming languages is JavaScript, let's say, or Java. Then maybe you'll be allowed to program in that. But you also have to look at the industry as to some things like Java and Flash are being kind of being phased out a little bit. So, but Java is just like so prevalent. I don't know how you can do that. There's just so much code that's been developed around Java.
That's cool.
And by the way, Java and JavaScript, there's some differences between those.
Of course.
Yeah.
So Rithvik, I have another question for you. What, you know, I know that you're only in 5th grade now, but I know you're probably thinking about your future at the same time. What do you think your future has hold for you? What do you feel, where are you gravitating towards as far as what type of career you're thinking about?
I would like to work at a software company, I would say.
Good answer. Maybe you can intern for Mr. Toby Foote for a little while when you're in college, and then explore some other things after that.
We can work on that learning management system that you want to implement.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that would be good.
I have a feeling he's going to own his own software company.
He might. We might be buying from Rithvik Enterprises.
Well, let's see what he said. He started when he was, did you say 7 or 5?
Yeah. No, 7.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Rithvik, once you start working, it never ends. You never get to quit again.
But
I
if you
think you enjoyed those first 6 years because that's all you got.
well,
Just kidding.
if you enjoy what you do, you're not working.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
good. That's good, Carmine. Absolutely.
That's great. Hey, Ritwick, besides applications or apps, which is very prevalent now, are there other industries that you would like to kind of touch base on and try to help out in?
Engineering, I would say. I like engineering.
That's great. That's good. It's always good to have different types of, touching base in different markets. That's great.
What kind of engineering do you like best? Is it like structural engineering or chemical
I like
engineering or-
aerospace engineering, I would say.
What is it about aerospace that interests you?
I just like how planes just lift off and just have the glide and the thrust to get like 45,000 feet in the air, and
Yes.
rockets, and how I like their thrust and like how they can force like go against the speed of gravity. I mean,
And have you been following some of the things that like SpaceX has been doing?
Yeah, I really like SpaceX and NASA, two of my favorite space companies, I would say.
Yeah. Did you get to watch any of them take off or land yet?
I saw the SpaceX where they went to space. I forgot what it was called, but SpaceX went to space.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think it was in August, yeah, or September.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's pretty incredible to be thinking about something like this at your age. I mean, the world has changed so much from when I was a 5th grader, and for the better, I might add. And thankfully it has, the future is yours to do with whatever you want to do with it. You've got the opportunities out there. You've got the teachers like Toby and his programs that help kind of get you launched a little bit and pique your interest and help you dive into some of the material. And I know that you can go even farther than that. So, it's inspiring to listen to you and to know that you're going to be one of those people out there making things better for us as we get older and older and older. And thank you. And I appreciate you coming on today too and sharing with us. I know you're probably in the middle of your school day, even though you're at home. And
I'm actually not, because today we have NWA and today is an asynchronous day for us. So.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, so today I just had to do some work on my computer, and that's about it.
No, fun. Are you going to go out and code something?
Actually, I might go to VidCode and finish my second class course.
Nice.
That's awesome. Hey, Toby, real quick, have you seen the attendance in these types of classes and clubs grow?
Well, we didn't have these virtual programs before COVID.
Okay.
It was a completely new. It was something that we've been talking about for 2 years, and until we were forced into this situation, then all of a sudden we instantly started migrating. We tried to figure out which of our camps we could move. That was what we did for the summer. So that was new. Trying to figure out though this is part of the business model of it. Are parents going to pay for this type of program, right? Are kids going to want to attend a program online versus one that's in person? I mean, normally we would do many more field studies. We'd have many more questions. More market research before we would go to market with something. boy, I mean, it was like, make it, we'll find out. And I was really surprised by the people that were interested in this program. We ran surveys as well too, to make sure that we're running these programs how they expected to run them. And there's a dynamic that's different inside of here as well too. When we run in-person programs, we were running a maximum of 12 kids for a program when they all had their own computer, they're all in the same room, and we're learning whatever subject we learn on site. With these virtual programs, they run anywhere between 5 to 10. They have to be smaller classes. So Rithvik's in a class right now where it's a club. So it's done, and it's also a little bit self-guided, a little bit coached. And so they were able to get ratios up to 10. But when we have our camps and we run our 12-person camps, they're in person virtually, we only have 5 kids in those classes. So, and that's because you have additional complexities, not only teaching the technology, but you're also teaching how do you teach it through Zoom, right? People are having to do screen shares, and it's just a lot of stuff that we got to learn. What we've learned is people have gravitated to it. There is a market out there for this, and people do want to attend these things. We have people, oh boy, I mean, we are an Ohio and Michigan-based company. I mean, we ended up having people from Carolina, from New York, from Massachusetts, from Colorado, from Texas. All of a sudden, they just found us, and I think it was just maybe somebody has a relative in another area. We saw lots of cool things happen. Cousins that never ever got to meet each other except maybe at a reunion every 5 years now went to camp together virtually online, and that was just kind of cool. Idea. So it was really a nice experience that we had this summer. We were very fortunate for it, and we're really excited to be offering both programs for next year, both virtual and in person.
I was reading one of your blogs the other day. You've got a great blog page, by the way. And I was reading the one that is called The Top 4 Tips for Teaching Online. And I noticed one of the things you talked about is that kids 10 and over can really grasp the online learning. But I wonder if your opinion on that's changed a little bit now that you've spent the summer and part of the fall doing online, because I'm watching the 6-year-old here, and he's learned a lot about Zoom. He's learned a lot about online work, and he is way faster. Even though I've been online since it's how old I am, since the internet came out, I have been online, but he's still much faster than me. So I just wonder if your perception has changed a little bit over the course of these months about the age that kids can do well online.
Yeah, so that article that you were reading, we wrote at the end of the summertime. And so this is preschool, not preschool, but before we went back to school in the fall. Some kids were using the Google Meet technology to do their in-person stuff in the springtime back then. I don't know how many people were using Zoom yet, but I think some of them were. And they were still getting adapted to it. And when they came into the summer and they went to summer camp and they're using Zoom, they still maybe stumbling a little bit. How do I use the Zoom technology? When we went back in, like I was on the first day of club. I'm actually not Rithvik's teacher. Miss Sherry is Rithvik's teacher. And I sat in though, because I wanted to help any kids, especially on the first day. And I was surprised. Kids were flying in, they were changing their name. They knew how to, turn off their camera and microphone. They knew how to do the virtual raising of your hand to kind of say, I got a question. They were in the chat boxes. I mean, they were everywhere. They knew everything that they were doing in Zoom. And it was a different experience of what I saw in the fall, right when we started up Coding Club, than what I saw in the summer. So I think what you're saying is true. The kids are adapting to this technology and they're learning much faster.
I would think the younger they are, the harder the time they have sitting still, though, from what I observe. So he's constantly playing with other things in his room. The one Zoom function I haven't shared with him, and I won't, is the video backdrop, because
yes,
doing that, they're all going to have wild things behind them and won't be able to focus.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons I asked is a little bit selfish too. Having a 6-year-old here, he'll be 7 in a month, but I'm hoping that at some point, you have some where there's offerings even for younger kids going forward. You have a great program, and I'm really excited to look. I haven't, because of my busy fall, I haven't devoted the time I should have to figuring out what max should join and what he should do. But I know that he's going to love this, and I'm excited about setting him up. I think that you have programs starting right now. Do you have like a break and then they start again?
Yes, so our coding club is run now, it's once a week. And we have Tuesday sessions and we have Wednesday sessions. You just pick one of those 2 days and they meet for an hour with all the kids. And then between those sessions, they have access to the software still, and they can continue programming, kind of like homework if they want to do it. You can either do a little of it, you can do none of it, you can do whatever you want.
Or is there like a natural break where it starts?
Yeah, every week they do it. So it's going to keep going on. Now they'll break for things like Christmas or maybe a major holiday thing. If for example, let's pretend they had a Thursday class, they wouldn't meet on Thanksgiving. But other than that, they're continuing, those coding clubs are continuing to run, and anybody can just walk into a coding club as long as there's availability at any time. Now, as far as the camps that you're talking about, the ones that are week long right now, we are running them right now in the fall as evening camps, but I don't expect those to probably continue throughout the whole school year. So if you see them, I would grab them if it's something you want to do during the school year. But those programs will be offered when we get into summer again. So those will be available. We start our registration on Black Friday. So that's when we have our biggest discount of the year as well too for our summer programs. So that's when you can kind of sign up for them. And yeah, you'll get, and if you get onto the website at any time, it's classroomantics.com. Just put your name anywhere or your email address anywhere on there and submit it. And you'll be part of the of our customer mailing list. So you'll get those reminders, you'll get those coupon codes for when those programs become available. But we will go into, for the camps, we don't offer those year round. We usually offer those only during the summer. This is an unusual time, so that's why we're offering it during fall evening camps right now.
So the best way for somebody to reach out to you is classroomantics.com, or if you can't remember, for some reason you forget what Toby's website is, you can find him listed on the Innovation World website as well under STEAM programs, I believe it is. So take a look under the resources when you have a chance. Toby, thank you so much for all of your time today. Rutha, thank you so much. I love how you're dressed for success on our podcast. I know not all the podcasters will see it, but he is in suit and tie and looks like the ultimate professionals, as the rest of us are all not dressed up. But he did wonderful. Thank you for your time today. And
you're a rock star, Rithik.
So awesome. So great.
I wanted to do just a real quick reminder. I know that we're a little over today, Carmine. Real quick, please go out to the Global Innovation Field Trip. Sign up to be an attendee. You don't have to watch all 24 hours, although it would be great if you did. But if you sign up, we'll send you the link for it, and you can watch whatever portions you want. There's a presentation schedule on the website, so you can see who's going to be up when and pick out people you want to watch and set your phone timer so that you remember to do it. So go out there and check it out. Otherwise, you can reach us anytime through the Innovation World website as well.
Yeah. So glad you said that, Julie. I was going to bring that up. Go on out there. It's such a great event, and there's so much information. Even if you're not sure what you want to learn about, it's so cool. Just listening to people from all over the world. It's such a great experience. So I totally agree with you.
Hey, I just want to tell you, we counted this time. We have 21 participating countries.
Wow. See? Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome what you're putting together here. And when do you get to hear from people from 21 different countries about their inventions, and what's going on in it? So cool. And what's funny about it is, and Toby and Ridvik, is we're not so much different from these other countries. The things they're coming up with, the things they're building, the things they're making, the things they're worried about, the things they're trying to fix. It's all about the same thing. So it's so cool to hear that. So going out, and I appreciate it. I think it's going to be a great event this weekend. So myself, Carmen Danisco, for Julie, for Toby, for Ritwick, thank you for listening in today. And we'll catch you next time on Innovation World. You all take care.
Thank you for joining us today for the Innovation World podcast and the Launch Network. Innovation World is your go-to source for all things innovation, invention, and entrepreneurship. Our website is www.innovationworld.org.